So in Java and C++, we write the keyword private here or public here or protected, public static void main. So right, the main that you write there itself, we call it as public static void main. So you are putting public keyword there. Okay. In Python, we don't
So
have,
this this def tell is a public. You are saying.
no, so not def. The tell the function is a public. Okay. That
Uh,
means
uh,
teacher can call it here. Okay. And you can call it here also. Okay. Without any problem.
yeah.
But if you declare as a private, okay. So
Okay.
private, how do you declare private? We put double underscore here. So when you say private, okay, then it cannot be used outside this class. Okay, so when you run it, okay, you get error. Teacher object has no attribute tell, because okay, uh, uh, because what we did was we made it as a private. Private objects cannot be used outside, okay, outside its class. Okay. Now if I put a single this thing, okay, so okay, saying do not have. So what we'll do is we will call it as minus underscore 10. Okay, so it is being called. Now what I'll do is I'll make it as double underscore here. Okay, teacher has no attribute tell. So when you make it private, it can be used within the class. Somebody else can call it, and I told you, right, it is used, you do it for both public and variables and functions. So when you put double underscore, this tell cannot be used outside this class. Okay, we call them
Yeah.
accessible properties. You cannot actually call this tell outside this class. Okay, and when you make it as private, so if you try to call it, it is called do not have access. Then you have something called, if you do not write, it is public. Now in Python, we generally we do not have concept of protected. Okay, protected means that the protected members can only be called by the
Sir,
child.
I'm a bit confused. Bit confused here.
Tell me.
Can you please tell me the first we will talk about the public first.
Public is what we have been doing for last 2 days. Okay, no restriction. You can call it.
Okay,
What we have been
fine.
doing for last
The
2 days
private is
is public.
ah,
So private
private means
means
you are giving.
it cannot be, you cannot access it. You cannot call it outside the class.
Okay, outside of the class we didn't call. Okay.
You can't call it. You see, yeah, I can, let's say in tell, okay. So okay, I'll do one thing. What I'll do is I'll create another function called def tell public, something like this. Okay, and here I'm calling it, and in tell here I'm saying self dot val, okay, equal to, let's say 10. Okay, now here I can say my being called from school with value, okay, comma self dot val. Okay, so now see, when I say here tell public, okay,
Okay.
the teacher has no attribute val. Okay, why it happened was that val, if you see here, it is part of public variable of teacher school, not of teacher. So what I'll do, I'll create a school class, okay, called as school and international school, I'll call it. And when you run it, not sorry. Okay, so what happened here? We are trying to call it in a in a class where this self val and self val is private here, right? It's inside the private. So you cannot access this value at all outside. Okay. So if I remove it, it is going to work fine. So private function or values cannot be called outside. No. So now it works fine. So when you define something as a private, you cannot call it outside the class. Here, I can use it for some other purpose. I can use it to, let's say, I'll define another class, which def. Okay. Now this is public. I call it calc. Okay. And here I am saying, here I'm saying print value, not print again, you won't be able to call it, right? I call it as self. Okay. Self dot value equal to self dot value, right? And this value, let me call it. Okay. So school has no attribute value. Okay. Now, why is this there? Because we haven't created this value. Is we are trying to use a variable without even creating it. So what we'll do is we'll call calc first. Okay. So I'm going to call calc here. Uh, uh, calc, right? So calc. See, we are not calling these functions, right? When you are not calling these functions, how will this value get initialized? So I'm thinking of a logic using which we can do that.
Self. Okay.
Okay. So let's say simply I'll say calc, okay, and I say self. Okay. We call it here self dot. And here I'm going to say something like this. Now let's say this work. Okay. Two were given. Which one? Calc. Okay. So now you see what happened. So I'm
So
calling
you are
this.
giving.
I'm giving the calc here. Now calc can call the tel. Okay. I'm calling calc, which is public. Okay. And calc is calling tel, which is private.
Private.
Okay. So calc can call it. But when I was trying to call here the private, I could not call it. Right? If I say here S1 dot tel, I cannot call it. Okay. I cannot call it because this is private. Private can only be called within the class. So, other function can call it.
Okay.
This function can call tel. This function can call tel, but we cannot call it outside the class.
Okay. Okay. Now I got it.
Right. So that's the properties of private. Private and public are declared. Public can be used outside the class. Private is restricted. You do not want it to be used outside the class.
Of the class.
Yes. So double underscore means you're making it is private. Okay. And single underscore is for private. It's for protected. Okay. So Python does not enforce it. Okay. So that means if you declare.
But for the init also, we are giving double underscore only, right? That is, we can consider as a private.
Okay. So in it, okay, you have double underscore. Okay.
Okay. Front and back.
So yeah. So see, it has a special meaning. Okay. Even if you don't give it, it is called. So it has a special meaning. So all the special meaning, they add it as underscore. See, and also if you see, we are not calling in it. See, in any, if you
Mm-hmm.
see, it is automatically called. We are not calling in it, isn't it? It is
Yeah, yeah,
automatically called. When you say create the object, it is called automatically. We are not calling it purposely, or
yeah, yeah.
that purpose. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. Okay. So this is what we call as encapsulation. Encapsulation means you are hiding the information. Okay. Abstraction is you are hiding the this thing. Now polymorphism also we saw. So you can create multiple functions within the class. Okay. We'll stop
Mm.
here in the class. Okay. And there are many
Mm.
examples in the link I've shared with you. Practice those examples and it will be all right. So the idea is once
Yes.
we know this class and objects, from now on, every program that you do, you try to use class and object. Okay, you create
Yeah.
a class, you put that as in a function, and then start using it like like creating object and calling the function.
Okay.
Okay, so now we'll move to next topic, which is reading input output files. Okay, so we are going to read. We are going to see how to read a file and text file and see the read the content from a text file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create. Okay, so see, so what are different operations that you can perform on a text file? So you will perform read. Okay, that means that already a text file is created and you are trying to read it, or you will perform write. Okay, so that means you want to create your own write. And th third option is append. Okay, so difference between write and append is when you write, existing content will be deleted, right? The existing content will be deleted. Append means it will keep the existing content and it is going to add on top of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what that's what
Mm.
difference between write and read, append. So this is one thing. Second thing is we see when you talk about reading a file or working with a database or anything where you're trying to access a third party thing. Okay, that means see till now what we have been doing is we've been programming within our Python area, right? We did not go beyond Python. Now we're going beyond Python. So there is a text file, okay, which has nothing to do with Python, isn't it? Now how do you read the text file? What concept? How do you read it? So we need to create. uh, So we need to um, have, okay, so it's like this. So let's say it's me and you, right? And if we have to communicate, we need to have a mechanism to communicate with each other, right? How do I convey message to you and how do you convey message to me? So and when you say Python and text file, these are two different technology, two different software, right? And talking
Mm.
different language. It's like you are speaking French, I'm speaking Spanish. How do we communicate? We need a mechanism. We need somebody in between which will take my message to you and then get your response to me, isn't it? So,
Mm.
so we will be for working with database and file, we have to use a mechanism. Okay, so here we call it file object. Okay, and in other so I mean you have to have an additional one line that you have to write, which will help you to interact with the outside world or interact with in our case, let's say we are doing text file now, so we need to have something which will help us to interact with the text file. To interact with the text file, we need to know the file name and the location, right? So this one,
Yeah.
okay, the one that the connection string that we are going to form, we have to pass the file name and the path. Okay, that's how it will know that okay, you are trying to read or you're trying to read a text file. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a text file. Let's say if I go here and I go to text, okay, and in text I'm going to create a dummy text file called read delete me, I'll say, so that I know that we need to delete it, delete me. And here I'm going to say how are you? Okay, so this is a text file where I have added some content here. See text and delete. So now if I have to connect to this, I need to have something called as connection string. So also called a file object. So I'm going to call that as file object. Let's say file underscore obj. Okay, equal to now we have to say open, right? We are opening a file. So whether you are writing to it or reading to it, or appending to it, you have to open the file. And before we close the application, when you are done, we'll close the file. So we have to use something called as open. Okay, open is a function which is given to us to help us to what happens. Okay, open the file. Okay, so open is a function where we are going to read the file. Now, so first open will take first the file complete file name, including path. So I can say c:/ text / delete me, right? So see, this is the file which is available at C drive. Okay, now we have seen the problem with the text, right? If it is n, it will create a new line, things like that. So better what we'll do is we'll put a r here, or so you put r, making it a regular expression. That way it is not going to evaluate /n as a new line character one. Or what you can do is instead of slash, you can put double slash here.
Okay, but this is a path where we can get a path.
So this is the
But
path
file
that
location.
you know, right? I've created this, isn't it?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now, when you do not give the path, let's say if you do not give complete path, then it will go and check in the current directory where the p2.py is saved. If your text file is at the same location with p2.py, then you don't have to give path. So by default, mostly what we do, people generally do, they'll put it in the same same location, or they'll put a folder in the same location and then give. So that way you are saying that it is in the same location. Okay, it will not go and actually search. But when you give colon c:, it means that it's an absolute path. So we have this concept of absolute path and relative path, right? When I give this c:/, it means I'm giving absolute path. Relative path is where your file is placed, p2.py is placed. With relative to that, what is the path, right? So I'm going to give absolute path here first. So I'm saying c:: text, okay, delete me dot text, okay. So this is the path. Now I have to tell in what mode I want to read, in what mode I want to open. So I told you I have three options: read, write, and append. Okay, so read only, and you have read and write. So you can still open a file both reading and write. Okay, so there we say r plus. Okay, if you only want to use for read, you say r. R means you want to read. We'll see. We'll try to r, and then we'll see other option. So this is a way to get handle to the text file. Okay, so this file object now has handle to it. This is like an interpreter. Okay, I've got a handle to it. Now if I have to pass a message to you, I will call this interpreter, and I'll say interpreter, send this message, call this message, or do whatever you want me to do it. Okay, so this is how you have to first create. Now, okay, we'll see the content. We'll read the content from the file. Okay, so I'm going to say so here to read, you have three options again. Okay, so you have read line, okay, and read lines. So three functions that we use to read the content. What I'm going to do is, before I'm going to add more content to it. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay, I am.
Oh, question and answer I can say later.
Yeah. I'm fine. Is
Where are you?
there
Okay.
is there I don't know. Is there is it raining there? Okay, is it raining there? Where are you? Okay. So let's say we have four sentences. Now, so here to read, I'll say file object, okay, dot, okay. So see this. You have read line, readable, read line, okay. So I'm going to use first read. So read, okay. Oh no, it got stuck.
Struct.
Could you fix this problem? Why is it stuck? Let me see the disk usages again. This is not good. Okay, I will say read. And let me see if it is disk usage problem. 481, see, 75. It is not 100, but still very high. So this is the problem. It's going up 97, see, and it becomes 100, and my system. So that what I did today did not help me. Oh,
Again, it reaches 200.
yeah, and that's why it became my laptop gets hang. Okay, we'll see after the class. Okay, so read, okay, and you define how many characters you want to read. If I don't put anything here and I read it and I'll save it in a variable, right? So I'll say
Yeah.
content, okay, equal to. Now, before we, okay, let's print the content and we'll see the data type of the content. So text from file /n, comma, content. Okay, and then I'm going to say print type of content, okay, comma, type of content. Okay, when I run it, okay, it's a string. Okay, so when you read object, it will read the content as a string and see all the content. How are you? I'm fine. Is it raining there? Where are you? All these things have been printed as it is. Okay, so read will read entire content as a string and you have access to it. Now, once you read it, you can, operate whatever logic you want to operate on it. Now, if you want to read first 10 characters, okay, you just say read 10 characters. Okay, now see if I'll copy this and put it here again. So see here, how are you? Okay, how are you is not completely printed, right? Why? Because see, we said 10, right? So HOW 3, 4, and then okay, so 3 plus 3 plus 2 is 8, and 2 blank spaces. 10 character is done. So it printed 10 character. Okay. Now when I said another 10, okay, it didn't start from beginning. It started from the position where we left the last time. Okay. So when you are reading this, you have to keep in mind that it is reading from the position where it has left. Okay.
So from there, it's counting to 10.
Correct. So if you see here,
It's printing to 10.
U question mark is 2, then it went to next line. Okay, here you have 3, 5, 6, 7, right? So it is printing, from there 10 line, 10 characters. Okay.
Yeah.
We have a function called as seek. Okay, seek file object dot seek. Now dot. The seek will actually let you go to a particular position. I want to go to. So see, right now your position, it is at 10th position, right? From it will print from 11th. I want to go back to 0. I'll say 0. Okay, so you can change the position of the reading value using seek. So seek will throw you to the beginning of. Now if you see, so how are you? And then again I said seek 0. So the counter, the pointer went to the first position. So how are you? Same content is printed here. Okay, if you want, you can move it to seek 20 also. So now it will start from 21st. I find INE has come, and is it space has come. So you can.
So what is the need of this seek here?
Seek is you have a pointer counter which is counting which is moving in the file, right? So you can change the position of that counter using seek. See, initially when I need to use seek, I said read. So the pointer went 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. It stopped at 10. So next time when again I said read, it started reading from here. Again stop. Again, if you start reading, it'll start reading from here. But if you do not want to read from here, you want to read from this position or this position, using seek, you can change the counter position.
Okay.
Okay. You can change the position of the counter using seek function.
Okay, you can change the counter position.
Yeah. That's clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So so that's the seek, and this is read. Now read line. Okay. So read line will read one line at a time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to seek it. I'll move it to 0, so that it goes back to 0. Okay, and I'm going to say read, and you can say instead of read, I'll say read line. Read line, okay, will read one line at a time. Okay, I have to do the print here, right? So read line, okay, read line. So how are you? It reads line by line. Now, if you want to read every content, okay, one option is you to read everything, but read lines, okay, will actually read it. See, this is also string here, right? And if I say lines, okay, lines will read the entire content as a list. So the type of content is list, not string anymore. So, and each line is read like a list. So you have a list. Now you can play with it. You can manipulate with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can read, entire content using read, or you can read some part of it using read and pass a variable inside it. You can read one line at a time using read line. You can read entire line using read line. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So similarly, we have something called as
Right.
right. Correct. So what I'll do is I'm going to say, okay, so you have to close the file. Okay. So it is good practice to close the file. So I'm going to say file object dot close. Okay, so file object close. So the file object which was pointing to it got close. Now I'm going to okay. So let's see. Let's try to write into it and see what happens. So when I try to write into it, so I'll say file object, okay, dot write. Please call me. Okay. Now when I read it, unsupported operation, not writable, because we have opened in read mode. So if you say R plus, okay, now it is written. So if we go and see this, in fact, if you if you run it again, okay, and so how are you? Okay, so towards it will be at the end, right? So where are you is the last line, right? Now when you run it, you see, please call me is getting added.
Okay.
Again, please call me got added. Again, if you run it, you will have to please call me. Right?
Yeah.
Now, if you want to add at the end, so you can say /n. Okay.
So here R plus means write mode only.
Read plus mode. So read and write both mode.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Okay. When I gave /n, it started in a different line. Okay. Till this, everything is treated as same line. So if you want a different line, you will say /n. It will create a different line. Okay. So this is how you can write from this. So this is how you do. Okay, so you can have write lines also. So if you have a in write lines, just like read lines give you a list, write lines accepts list. Okay, so write accepts string, but write lines accepts list. So you can create a list and you can pass it to using write lines.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how you would read a text file. So we'll stop here today. Tomorrow we'll see how to perform CSV files and JSON files. Okay, so once we do CSV in JSON, then we will get into database. Okay, so we'll work on database, and then we do exceptions and assertion. So database, let's say tomorrow if you finish files, then we'll do database, then we'll do exception assertions one day, and then we'll do regular expressions, and with that we will finish. Okay, we can
Yes,
do
sir.
GUI programming also. So maybe one day GUI program will spend. So
Okay.
read write one more, database one more, regular expressions one more, exception handling one more, and GUI program one. 5 topics, 5 days, we'll finish it up. Maybe next
Yes,
Saturday,
sir.
Sunday, if you get time, we'll do 2 hours and finish it by Sunday itself.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So we'll end here. We'll end it here. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.